Hey crafty friends, today we are going to make a Halloween layout. I'm so excited. It's my first one of the season. Before the season is over, I thought I better hurry up and make this. It's actually a collaboration with the creative design team, and we are making Halloween layouts this week. I'm going to be using the Sweet Halloween scrapbooking workshop. So I'm not actually following the layouts in the workshop, although there are some good ones in here, and you have the full cutting guide and directions for putting everything together. If you want to do that, you totally can. But the reason I wanted to work with this kit is because of all the fun die cuts. These are just like punch out die cuts. They pop out really easily. We got 2 sheets in here. These fun little characters, some really good title options. And these are a pretty good size, so they are definitely good for scrapbooking. And then we have the sticker sheet. So we got some more journaling spots, some more icons and words. I always love having like little phrase stickers that I can put on my layouts. We have some border strips down here that are 12 inches long. And then here's a look at the papers. So we got this fun candy pattern that has little stars and little bats in there. The back side is this kind of subtle purple pattern. You get 2 sheets of that. And then we have some orange with some really subtle black polka dots. And then this kind of distressed pattern on the other side. You have 2 sheets of that one. And then this orange on white kind of line pattern, lots of subtle patterns. So it should go really well with Halloween pictures, which are typically very busy. And then of course in the kits you get exclusive single-sided papers that are just found in the kits. We have this yellow pattern, this green pattern, and then we have a selection of cardstock in here as well. So we have some white, some purple, orange, and green. So everything you need to make the pages, but you can also make your own thing as well. For my layout, I want to do something a little bit different that I don't ever usually do, and I am going to use black cardstock for my bases. This is solid core black cardstock. Any black cardstock should work just fine. And I am pulling in the CDT Sketchbook Volume 2, and I am working on page 16, this layout design here. I've made this one other time, and if I can remember, I will link the video where I made this layout down in the description box. So I've already printed my photos. These are from Halloween 2021, I believe. And is that not just adorable? These are so cute. I can't believe I have never scrapbooked these. This was actually Isabella's first Halloween out trick-or-treating. First time going trick-or-treating. She was still fairly new to walking, so we had the wagon along and did pull her or carry her a lot of the way. So instead of having one large 5x7, I'm going to have these 2 on this page. And then we have 4x4 and a 6x4. This is just some random house. She was pretty fascinated by the display, and so I included that one in here. And then I had more portrait photos that I wanted to use, so I just put 2 of them on a 6x4 piece of white to mat them, and then I have one more 4x4. So you can see we have a lot of pink going on here. I think it should work out okay. The purple that is in here is definitely like a pinky purple. It's Petunia Pop. And I think it will go pretty well along with this, even though it's not like an exact match. I think it's close enough. And then we have yellows, oranges, and a little bit of green going on in there. So I think it should all come together pretty good. To make our chevrons for this layout, our kind of zigzag pattern, we're going to take 3-inch squares. And we are going to cut them in half diagonally. So I'm just going to line them up with the edge of my trimmer here. And this will give us our triangles. I'm going to do several in all these different papers. And then we can kind of figure out what sort of pattern we want to have. I think I probably want to offset the colors. So we'll play around with that. and see what we can come up with. I'm not sure if I cut enough triangles, but we're just gonna go ahead and start playing around and see how it looks. So I'll just move these into the center here. They go about halfway through the middle of the next triangle. So we'll see how we can get everything lining up. And then the pieces for the ends, I have to cut one of these triangles in half for that piece. So I think something like this should look good. There is like a little space in between the pieces. And then we have another row going in between here. I think probably the best way to stick this on is going to be to find the center point, stick that middle one on first, and then go from there. I kind of want to split this. So like maybe do half a yellow one and then do the black one over here. Maybe I want to do that on this side too, and add some green over here. Yeah, I like that. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Now this whole thing is going to have to move up. So let's just move photos off for a second. I think I want to line the gap up with the 6-inch mark. So I'll just make sure my paper is centered on there properly. And then I can put this just above the 6 inches. And then this side will put just below the 6 inches, and that should give us. Now, once I have my bottom line on, I stuck the 2 ends first and then put the 2 middle ones in. To line up the next row, I'm going to start with the middle and then do the 2 ends. So I've already placed them pretty close to where I think they need to be. And this center point here, I'm trying to line that up with the center point of this one, of course, leaving like a narrow little gap in between. I think that looks pretty close. And then we'll just line the other 2 up using that middle one to help me get them straight. Then once we have all our pieces stuck on there, we can flip it over and trim off the excess with our scissors. There's our first row done, and now I'll do the same thing on the other page. My pieces are stuck down now, and before I move on to adding on my photos and adding on anything else that I want to put on my page, I want to do my background technique. So I thought, since I'm doing a black background, it would be so much fun to add some splatter onto my pages. And so what I'm thinking is this page in the top right, I'll do splatter over here. And then I think on this side, if we do top right, bottom left, I think should look pretty balanced. So I'm going to bring in my splatter box. This is just an old shipping box. You can see it is well loved and well used. I'm going to move my other layout so I don't accidentally get any paint on it or anything. And I'm going to bring in a little palette. You could do this step with mists if you have them. I'm going to use some white acrylic paint, and I am just going to squirt a little bit of paint into my palette. And then I'm going to use some water and just water this down to make it so that it can splatter. I have a fan brush here. I'm not sure if I want to use this or if I want to use a different style of brush, but let's try this and see how it goes. You just want your paint wet enough that it will splatter. And if it doesn't feel runny enough, then go ahead and add some more water to it. Now I'm just gonna hit my brush. Oh yeah, look at that stand out. Now you gotta be careful. When you're splattering, it does like to go everywhere, and as long as you like catch it while it's wet, it's pretty easy to clean up. But if you don't catch it while it's wet, well, you have white paint splatter now. All right, I'm not protecting my paper. I'm not too worried about that. I am getting a little bit of splashback from this brush. I'm gonna switch out to my other page. Look at that. That's looking really cool. Okay, so we're gonna do top and bottom. Oh, getting some splashback here. Now you do want to wash out your brush fairly fast after you do this. And then we are going to switch colors. All right, I would like to bring in some more pink onto this layout. So I'm going to use some liquid pearls in Ballerina, and we'll see how this looks once we get it on our page, if that's the right color. I do have a darker pink here as well. You could also just use acrylic paint for this. It doesn't have to be liquid pearls. but this should give us a nice shimmery finish besides being dimensional and pink. I'm going to switch over to my smaller fan brush and see how that works. I'm just going to mix this all in. It does take a little bit more mixing to get the liquid pearls combining with the water, but it will dissolve and mix in. And then you get this beautiful, I don't know if my camera will focus, there you go, beautiful pearlescent paint. All right, let's see. That is giving me such light pink that it almost looks white. So I have this color, Dazzle, and I just want to try that. It's a nice like hot pink. Okay, let's try this and see if there we go. Now we're getting more of a pink color to it. So you can actually tell the difference between that and the white. Oh yeah, there we get some large splatter. Nice. Now you would think that would be enough. We have the white and the pink, but I want to try one more thing. So I have pink taffeta Stickles that I've mixed down with water as well. So this is glittery, and I just want to see how that'll look adding some glitter splatter to this. Keeping in mind, a lot of this is going to be covered by my photos. So I want to make sure I'm getting close enough to the edge, because that is where this is really going to be seen, is up at the edge. I really love how this looks against the black. That twinkle is just so much fun. I know we'll have to wait until this is dry to see the full effect, but hopefully you can kind of see the twinkle, the pearlescence, and then the matte of the white as well. I've gone ahead and stuck down my photos, and now we are ready to embellish. I think everything is mostly dry. I did kind of wipe up some of the stickles because they got kind of thick in some areas. And here I'll give you a little close-up of what this looks like in the light. So you can see that dark pink, the white, and then when you turn it in the light, you see that pink glitter from the stickles, which is so cool. Love that texture. So now I'm going to start embellishing. Now that my photos are in place, I'm going to just keep it really simple. I've added a journaling box here from the die cut page, and then I just want to add a few die cuts, a few stickers, but not too much. I feel like we got a busy pattern, we got splatter, we have busy photos, so we have enough going on in this layout. I think we can keep it fairly simple. I'm going to use the Trick or Treat title, and I think I want to overlap my photo a little bit. And I have this moon sticker. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue because this is going over all that paint splatter, so it's got some texture to it. I thought this would pop really nice against the black and all the splatter. I have a couple of ghost stickers here. I have cut down the margins on some of these stickers. I'm going to tuck these little ghosts in behind my photo. Just going to add a little bit of glue just to make sure that they stick. And then I have this word sticker that says, "Let the fun begin." Yeah, I think I'll stick it behind that little ghost. Same thing, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue just to make sure this actually sticks. I have this little pumpkin sticker. I do want to make like a little cluster over here. So I have the sticker that says, "Hey Pumpkin." And I think that would make a cute little cluster. The other thing I was thinking is this little banner die cut could be fun, kind of coming underneath. I think I want to do that. So I'm just going to add glue. This is one of the die cuts, so it's not already sticky. And I want this to go under everything. I just have to make sure it's high enough that it's not coming over the bottom of my page. Then I'm going to stick my sticker down next, and then I will put this on. This one is up on Dimensionals just to add a little bit of height. There we go. Now I have this little piggy here. I'm not sure if I want to add any more embellishment or if I just want to leave it with the journaling here. And then I do have these little bat die cuts. Oh, maybe I can fill that little gap. Yeah, that looks good. And then I could add a couple more down here just to add a little something. But then I probably want to bring some bats over on this side too. Okay, Okay, I landed on putting a couple of the bats over on this side. I felt like this would still be balanced, but it would bring those bats over to this page because I don't want to have them just on the other page and none over here. But I feel like the clusters I did already are pretty complete, and I don't want to add too much more because I'm going to cover up all of the splatter that I did. So this way, I can still have those little bats over here and just add a little bit of embellishment. I'm going to keep putting these mini dimensionals on my bats and just pop all of them up. My final finishing touch for this layout are the Shimmer Star foam stickers. These come in the black, the purple, and the white. I did a mix of purple and white on here. I started out with the purple, but then I found that they really didn't stand out against this background. They really blended in with the splatter. So I switched to the white, but I also kept some of the purple in these other areas. So we have a mixture. Here you can see all that fun splatter. I just have to write my journaling and then this layout will be complete. So you can see I got a couple more stars, another one over there. It's just a fun little addition. We've got some stars between bats. Another little fun embellishment to add. We got another one over here. And I love how this background turned out. That splatter is just so much fun and adds a lot to these pages. I almost never do a black background, but I'm so glad I tried it for this layout. Definitely fits with Halloween. Make sure you check out the other creative design team members' videos. I will link the playlist right here. And I will see you again soon with another video.